share some secrets, but that's the thing, you have 4 seconds to impress us. It's about to get real.
Count 1, 2, 3, and don't you stop the music, get into it, won't you dance with me? Find a place and lose it, you can do it, won't you dance with me? Move your downtown, we let it go, sunset high and our bodies low.
Hey y'all, what is up? It is Marissa Nicole and welcome back to my channel. Some of you may know me as my drifting desk where I help you conquer college, and that's exactly what we're gonna do today in the sorority realm of things. These past 2 weeks have been very sorority heavy for me and I'm sorry, but I've just been like inspired to talk about sorority so much lately. And last week I posted, a sorority Q&A video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll post it up above and down below. And I've also talked about what it's like to live in a sorority house, as well as how to get ready for recruitment. And today we're talking about the truth of sorority recruitment. It's about to get real. I'm gonna share some secrets and just let you know kind of how it is to be a current chapter member during recruitment and just give you some inside scoops to that. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing down below. I post videos every Monday and Wednesday and vlogs every Friday, so definitely come and hang out. Let's dive on into the video. The first thing that I want to mention is that first impressions are important, okay? Every round or every day of recruitment that you're going to go through, you're probably going to talk to a different sister, maybe multiple different sisters in that day, in every chapter. And so every day of recruitment is basically like the first day for you. You need to put your best foot forward. You need to be looking your best, speaking your best, everything your best, because every day is a first impression, and those are very important for us. I'm also a psychology major here at Ohio State University, and so I can tell you that somebody decides if they like you or not literally within like the first 4 seconds of meeting you. In 4 seconds, you have to prove to me that I like you, basically. It's hard and that's kind of intimidating, but it's the truth. Like, have you ever met someone new and it's just how they shake your hand, how they say hello, eye contact while talking to you? Like, there's so many different things that will go into whether or not at the end, if your friend's like, oh, did you like so-and-so? And you're like, yeah, they're okay. Or like, yeah, I really liked them. It all happens so quickly. And so you better be on your A game during recruitment, because we're gonna be looking at that, and it's something that is subconscious. Like, again, psychologically, we're not like, you have 4 seconds to impress us, but in 4 seconds, you're gonna make an impression on us, and you want that to be good, of course. So really think about what you're wearing to all of these rounds of recruitment, your makeup, your presentation, how you're carrying yourself. If you're carrying yourself with your chin up, your shoulders back, and confident, or if you're kind of walking in hunched over and your eyes looking to the ground, all of those give off different vibes to us that may be important to our decision on whether or not to extend you a bit. After that 4-second, first impression, typically a sister will take you somewhere to talk to you a little bit more, and they'll ask you questions, and you'll get to ask them questions, and you'll basically do that every round. But during that, we're also taking note of your personality and whether or not we feel that you'd be a good fit for our chapter. And so how you're answering our questions is important, whether or not you're smiling, again, like I mentioned before, making eye contact, if you're really engaged with the conversation, if you're asking me leading questions. Again, if I'm asking you a question, you're not just saying yeah, but you're saying yeah, like I love that. You're going into more detail. Like, everything kind of gives us a little look into who you are as a person and whether or not you would fit in great with our chapter. Now, I say that not so that you will change your ways and say, oh, okay, so I have to be super engaged and ask lots of questions. No, I'm saying be yourself, because we take note on your personality, and you have a home specific to you that you will fit in great with. Do not change yourself for a sorority, and do not try to alter how you behave to fit a certain sorority's, look, because you're ultimately not going to be happy there then, because you're not being your true self. I want you to go into recruitment being 100% yourself, but just know that we're taking note on your personality and how you're answering questions and how you look, your first impressions, all of that. I mentioned this in my previous video this week. Sometimes sororities will look through PNMs, which is a potential new member. We'll look through PNMs as Instagrams or Twitters and stuff like that, just to get a better feel for them once we're getting down to crunch time and creating our bid lists. If we're trying to remember, who so-and-so is, or if we liked so-and-so, we may look at their Instagram, and are we gonna like what we see? Are we gonna see you, chugging bottles of alcohol every day for the past year? Or are we gonna see you, having fun, but also being a student while also being with your family? Like, are we gonna get a full picture of who you are as a person? And do you think that we would like that? I guess, for a lack of a better word. Every day of recruitment, we'll be asking you different questions, typically specific to, what day of recruitment we're going through. I did post a video earlier this year about our recruitment that we just went through, and kind of give you a breakdown on each day and round of recruitment, what questions to expect on each round, and also like an outfit lookbook for each round. I will link it up above and down below if you want to check it out. But just know that every question we ask you, we are intently listening to your answers. Like, we're not just asking you questions to pass the time or to hear ourselves talk. Like, we want to get to know you. We want to know your answers. We want to know more about you. And so we're listening to everything that you're saying. So much so that I just want you to keep in mind that if we ask you, like, what's your idea of fun? And you're an incoming freshman who's 18 and you're like, oh, I love going to XYZ bar and getting trashed every night with my friends. Some sororities may look at that and go, ooh, that's a liability. So I want you to think about what you're saying, really think about your answers before you say them and how they may come across and how you're really wanting to depict yourself to us. Your answers will tell us a lot about you, so think before you speak. And just so you know, typically every round of recruitment there's different criteria that we're like scoring you guys on. And so we have things to be looking out for, and we'll score you on like a rank of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 or something, whatever different schools do, or different sororities may have different methods. But typically every round of recruitment we're going to be asking you certain questions and then scoring those answers, or also just scoring you. That way it's just kind of easier for us to keep track of each P&M. You know, we're seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of P&Ms every day. It is hard to keep track of you. So it's not something to like put a number to you or say like, oh, she's an A, B, C, D, E, F kind of thing. We're not saying that she's a 10. This is literally just the easiest way to kind of keep track of how much we liked you and how much we think that you'd fit in with the sorority. I don't want you to think it's like a bad thing, but we have to score / rank somehow in order to keep you guys all apart and to keep track of all of you. But just think about that, because again, we may be scoring on how you carry yourself versus how you answer questions versus etc, etc. So keep that in mind. There's this thing called a legacy, and that basically means that your mom, dad, aunt, somebody, grandma, somebody was in another sorority, and so you're not in that sorority, but you are a legacy of that sorority. So if my mom was an Alpha Phi, I'm an Alpha Phi legacy now. And some sororities may take that into account more so than others, but just know that it is a thing and it could matter on like your scorecard or how we look at you. Some sororities will look out for their legacies and really try to bring in those legacies, and typically that'll be like on your card when we get your information as a P&M. It'll say so-and-so is an Alpha Phi legacy, and we'll be able to see that and we'll be able to be like, oh great, so we really need to try hard for her. We want to bring in that legacy because she already has, you know, family members in that. And some sororities really stay true to their legacies and really try to keep that up, while other sororities it's not as important. So it just kind of depends on, you know, what legacy you are, what school you're at, if that's of importance at that school, etc, etc, or even if you're wanting to go with your legacy. I mean, there's sisters in my sorority who are legacies elsewhere, but they just weren't really feeling those chapters at our school, and then they ended up joining my sorority. So that's not like a locked deal for you. If you're a legacy, that doesn't mean you have to go with where you are a legacy at, but it is just something that sororities typically know about that could help you, or you could go somewhere else. Now, unfortunately, on like the sorority side of this, I really hate that this matters or that it's a thing, even if it is small or how big it is, whatever. I just really don't like it. But there is a quote-unquote tier system for sororities, and some sororities like to label themselves as top tier or like a bottom tier or different things like that. And I don't agree with the tier system. I don't uphold to it. I don't like to throw myself or other sororities into this tier system. I just think that's very unfair and misleading to P&Ms and to girls. But just know that it's out there if you are hearing those terminologies like, oh, this sorority is a top tier, or if you want to join a sorority that's bottom tier and then you're kind of like, well, I don't want to join a bottom tier sorority. Like, that means nothing. Do what makes you happy and go with whatever sorority you feel is your home, okay? The tiers mean nothing. It is literally just a social construct that, you know, Greek life tried to do to show that some sororities were better than others, but like, on what criteria, like what standard does this sorority mean that it's better than this one? Like, I don't know. I don't agree with it, but just know that it's out there, and just know that a lot of the tier systems, but also recruitment in general, is kind of centered around like numbers, which I hate, because if you have tons of girls in your sorority, then you're like top tier, but if you're a smaller sorority, you're bottom tier. But that just means that, you know, the bigger sororities have a lot of girls and the smaller sororities are of a little girls. Like, I don't know what that means in terms of like one being better than the other, but that's a thing. Also, from like the recruitment side, like our side, recruitment is exhausting for us. Sororities can be going to bed, you know, as early as like 11 o'clock and getting a full night's rest, while some sororities could be up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning trying to finish all of their duties for the next day of recruitment. So we are tired every day, and I know that y'all are tired every day because recruitment on y'all's side is also exhausting. And so when y'all come in exhausted, just know that we're also exhausted. I do want to let you know that sororities literally spend thousands of dollars on recruitment. Like, to me, that's crazy crazy. In my head, like, sororities were here to raise money for philanthropies and do other fun things, whatever, cool. But like, if we're spending thousands of dollars on recruitment, imagine if we just donated those thousands of dollars to our philanthropy. Like, I don't know why we're spending a buttload of money just to bring in new girls when, of course, we need new girls, but like, why are we spending that much money on a thing called recruitment? Like, just do casual recruitment. I don't know, that's another video for another time. I don't really understand that, but just know that sororities spend a lot of money on recruitment in terms of decorations, outfits, food and drinks, you know, videos, if there's like sisterhood videos, if there's philanthropy videos, all of these things, especially bid day. Bid day costs so much money in terms of decorations and outfits that everybody wears. Like, it's ridiculous how much money sororities spend on some of the not important things. But I say that because I want you to know that when you're looking at sororities, every sorority is gonna have a different budget on recruitment. So if you see a sorority that's like super dolled up, super, you know, decked out in decorations, all these things, and then you may see one that's not as much, I don't want you to think that that's because that sorority sucks or is bottom tier or like whatever you're trying to think. Just they may have a lower budget for recruitment because they'd rather spend their money elsewhere. Except there could be a lot of different reasons, but I don't want you to think that, oh, because this sorority has the best food, that that's gonna be the best sorority. That's just that just means that they spent more money. But I don't know what that means to you. Like, I just don't think that's as important as whether or not you feel at home with that sorority. That's just me. But just know that you're gonna see every girl in every house at their absolute best. It is gonna be a real depiction of that sorority, but it's also not. You're really not gonna know what that sorority is really like until you're in it, until you've joined it and you've been initiated. Then you're gonna know what you've gotten yourself into, basically. I would take everything with a grain of salt. Everything through recruitment, really analyze and look into, because you're seeing the best of all these girls in their finest makeup and their finest outfits with the most expensive snacks and the most expensive decorations, and all that's not going to be there in 2 weeks after recruitment's over. You're going to still have the big beautiful house and the sisters, but that's what you should be focusing on in recruitment, is what's going to be there after recruitment. Do you like the girls? Do you like the sisters? Are they nice to you? Are they nice to other sisters? What kind of events do they put on? How much money do they raise for their philanthropy? Like, that's going to be the stuff that is going to continue past recruitment. Do not really take recruitment in and of itself into your decision of which sorority to join, if that makes sense. And I guess the last dirty secret or dirty truth to recruitment that I kind of want to tell you is that you will be dropped or released from the process. Different schools or chapters may call it different. At Ohio State, we say released from the process, but some schools say dropped, so I'm gonna use those interchangeably. But when you go through recruitment, each day of recruitment, you kind of get asked back to less and less houses, so that by the end, you're only at a couple, and then you make your decision off of those couple, instead of, you know, picking 1 or 2 sororities out of 26 if your school has tons of sororities there. And so every day you're gonna be released from a couple different sororities. And that can be kind of hard. Like, some people take it harshly, some people take it personally, some people get really upset, especially if they got released from a house they really like. And I know it's unfortunate, but it has to happen. Like, we have to release girls because there are quotas for us. Like, we can only ask so many girls back after each round, or, you know, we have to stay underneath our quota, and you guys have to, you know, rank or preference different houses and list your houses. Like, it's a co-mutual thing, but it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be unfortunate, and I'm sure you're gonna be upset at some point. I just want you to know that everything happens for a reason, and maybe you were released from a house not because they didn't like you, or because you're ugly, or because you're this or that, or whatever you think, or whatever's going through your head that you think that's why they dropped you. It could just be because they hit their quota. Like, it could be something so minuscule, or it could be something in terms of, you know, we saw you and you mentioned something about, you know, your grandma and mom and aunt, uncle, and there's like 5 people in your family who suffer from breast cancer. You know, we might love you at our house, but we honestly may release you because we know that you'd probably fit in and love being in Zeta Tau Alpha because their philanthropy is breast cancer awareness. Like, it could be something that's trying to benefit you, and that's why you were dropped or released. And I just don't want you to take it so personally or just be so hurt about it, because it has to happen, unfortunately. But sometimes sororities are doing it for, you know, the better of you, because we're thinking about you and where you should end up as home and where we think that you would fit in well, even if that's not with us. Like, we want you to be happy, and it hurts us just as much to, you know, lose potential sisters of ours and to unfortunately have to release those girls. But it happens, and I don't want you to take it personally, and I want you to keep going through the process even if you're released from a house you love, because you need to trust the process, and you always find your way back home. You always find your girl gang, and things seem to just work out. Trust it. Trust the process. If you're in a sorority or you're an alum of a sorority and you want to share some dirty little secrets about recruitment, let me know down below. Share some Share some with us. I'd love to read the tea. If you learned something new or you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe down below to hang out with me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm hoping you're getting excited for recruitment. I know I am. Recruitment is my favorite time of the year. It's gonna be so much fun, and I hope you guys feel a little bit more prepared after these videos, and I'm hoping you just take it all in, really enjoy the process and the experience in and of itself, and trust the process, okay? I promise it'll all work out. Somehow, some way, it always does. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye!
Downtown we let it go. Sunset high and our bodies low. Blood rush in a hazy glow.